Dr. Hughes had suggested that
Poop King, thanks for 10 gifted subs.
perhaps
Thank you.
Ms. Heard's PTSD was somehow
It
triggered.
happened for like a year. Went on for like a year or so.
What's your view on that?
I would say that it can't be triggered if PTSD isn't present.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
All right. Cross-examination.
All right. Uh-oh. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, stop using facts. Yeah, that's
Dr.
what they don't
Curry, I
like.
just want to make sure that we all remember
You can
you're
try,
not board
yeah.
certified, correct?
No, I'm not.
Okay. And you've been licensed for how long?
I've been licensed for 10 years.
Okay. And you are being paid by Mr. Depp's legal team to be here, correct?
Yes.
How much have you charged so far?
I actually don't know.
Over 100,000?
I truly don't know. I don't do my own books.
Over 200,000?
I don't know.
Over 300,000?
That would be way too much, but I do not know.
How about over $1 million?
Now, just so that we all remember, you had dinner at Mr. Depp's house for 3 to 4 hours with Mr. Depp, Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, and Ms. Vasquez, correct?
I was interviewed. I asked if there was anything I could eat because at about 3 hours I started to get hungry. Mr. Depp then offered to order takeout for the entire team.
So
My
you
man.
had dinner with at Mr.
Getting
Depp's
pizza.
home with Mr. Waldman,
Yep.
Mr. Chu, Ms. Vasquez, and Mr. Depp, correct?
Yes.
And you had drinks as well, correct?
I actually don't know. I do remember that there were drinks.
Do you recall testifying earlier that you did have a drink, a mule something?
No, I remember testifying that there might have been a mule. A Moscow mule.
Okay, thank you. We didn't have animals there as well, right?
Yeah.
No animals.
Okay, that's good to know.
All right.
And you talked about transparency. I just want to make sure you had several designations, expert designations and reports in this case, correct?
Yes.
And in not one of them did you disclose that you had dinner and drinks at Mr. Depp's house for 3 to 4 hours with Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, and Ms. Vasquez. Is that correct?
Ms. Bredehoff, you're mischaracterizing what occurred.
Dr. Curry, please answer the question. Not once did you disclose this in any of your reports,
I did not
correct?
disclose that I was interviewed as that standard procedure.
But it's true that you have never gone to a client's house to be interviewed for an expert witness position, correct?
Yes, because I never had a client that was essentially homebound because of their celebrity status.
All right. And you talked to Mr. Depp for 3 to 4 hours before taking on the role of assessing Ms. Heard and deciding whether she was suffering from any distress, correct?
I did not talk to Mr. Depp. I was talking to his legal team, and he was there to observe.
He was present for the 3 to 4
Yes.
hours.
Of course he was there.
And are you saying now he just stayed silent and said nothing all day?
I don't recall what he didn't or didn't do. I was answering questions.
Okay. Now, your expertise here is limited to whether Amber Heard suffers from PTSD currently. Is that correct?
Yes, I was tasked with conducting an evaluation to determine
Dr.
Ms.
Curry,
Heard's mental
We're all on
status.
very, very strict time limitations
Okay.
because we've promised to get this case to the jury. So I'd really appreciate if you just answer my question rather than trying to go further.
Sure.
Okay? Thank you very much. Now,
That wasted more time than
after
she
you
did.
had the dinner, you then provided a designation
It's not
in
we,
February
it's
of
you.
2021.
Your side's on a time
in
limitation.
which you said, and this is long before you ever saw
Yeah.
Amber Heard, correct? You said that Amber Heard, quote, exhibits patterns of behavior that are consistent with co-occurring cluster B personality disorder traits, especially borderline personality disorder, end of quote.
I would
correct?
waste as much
No.
time as possible
No,
right now.
we went through this before.
I would
did.
intentionally do
And
that.
that was on the designation, was it not?
I told you last time that I did
Yeah.
not write that.
Okay. And you don't know who did on the legal team, correct?
No.
Okay. And then I also asked you, if you may recall, whether you listened to the audio recording in which Mr. Depp taunted Amber Heard that she had a borderline personality disorder. Do you recall that?
I recall you asking me that, yes.
Did you recall listening to that audio tape?
I don't recall Mr. Depp taunting Ms. Heard. I do recall that he at some point suggested she might have that diagnosis.
Okay, and that was back in these audio tapes back when they were together, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I
Now,
think
you've
so.
never before been asked to testify or serve as an expert with respect to someone who has bipolar disorder, correct?
No, as I previously stated, that's not true.
All right.
Ah. She's moving around quick, man. She's trying to speed run this shit.
Not up here anymore.
Okay, my apologies, but I'm going to go ahead.
Your Honor, can we approach?
All right.
Oh my god, bro. Like if I was Dr. Curry, I would try to run out the clock as much as possible. Like, I didn't hear that. Well, what do you mean by that? I'm not really sure. Can you repeat the question? Okay, so here's pretty much what happened. Well, okay, all right. So this was back. Wait. All right, all right. Let's start from the beginning again. Okay, so basically, I would just go on and fuck it on and do as much as I possibly can. Use phrase, yeah. Just like really stall things out. Just like turn it into like, repeat the same thing 4 times. That kind of stuff, man. Oh my god, I don't like that at all. No, it's like, it's obviously I'm joking. I probably would like maybe make it a little bit more, but obviously you can't do that. Shouldn't be credible then. I'm not really being serious. You really think that's what I'd actually do? It's just a joke. Yeah, okay, here we go. There's
Now,
repeating
you
cross-exam.
recall
Yeah.
testifying in your deposition on March 21, 2022, correct?
Yes.
And you were under
Uh-huh.
oath at that time, correct?
Yes.
And the question I just showed you on page 207, line 5, have you ever been asked to testify or serve as an expert with respect to whether someone has bipolar disorder? And your answer at that time was no, correct?
Yes, I had forgotten that case.
Okay. And have you ever been asked to testify whether anyone has behavioral or characterological conduct that suggests they may be an IPV perpetrator?
I may have. It's difficult. After about 250 cases, it's difficult to remember specifically.
All right. And have you ever been qualified as an expert in the area of IPV?
No.
And have you ever been qualified to testify as an expert in domestic abuse or violence?
Domestic.
Abuse or violence?
Yes, that's been a component of testimony.
Okay, here we go. She's gonna give her a bunch of stuff, I guess. Alrighty. What the hell is that? Okay, she's trying to discredit her? Yeah, she is. She's trying to discredit Dr. Curry. That's obviously what they have to do.
Line 16 of page 207, have you ever been qualified as an expert in the area of IPV? Your answer on line 20 was no, under oath, correct? Then the next question, have you ever been qualified to testify as an expert in domestic abuse or violence? That and goes into page 208, line 4. The answer then under oath was no. Now, you would agree that the literature is quite clear that trauma-based symptoms such as PTSD or complex PTSD have symptoms that overlap with borderline personality disorder and histrionic personality disorder, yes?
Yes.
Okay. And you would agree that it's important to use valid and reliable measures for an accurate diagnosis, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. You chose, however, not to administer the structured clinical interview for DSM-5 personality disorders, the SKID. Is that correct?
I did.
Okay. And would you agree that that is a state-of-the-art structured clinical interview?
Not for a forensic evaluation with a sophisticated examinee.
But to determine if a personality disorder is present?
No, not in this setting.
You don't agree with that?
I do not.
And you don't agree that that is the gold standard assessment for reliable, accurate psychiatric diagnosis?
It's a good one, but for treatment settings especially.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, did Ms.
So it's not for
Hurd, you
actual,
said
like,
you talked
yeah,
about, you
okay.
read
It's
all
not
of
for
the
trials.
treatment records, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you recall reading the treatment records for the psychologist Bonnie Jacobs, who saw Amber Heard over 5 years?
I do.
And did you see anything in Bonnie Jacobs' notes over 5 years in which she diagnosed Ms. Heard with borderline personality or histrionic personality disorder?
No.
Now, you also saw the notes of Dr. Connell Cohen, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you even attended his deposition, correct?
Yes.
All right. And he saw Amber for roughly 2 years. He was part of the Dr. Kipper connection,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Correct? Okay. And did you see anything in Dr. Cowan's notes, and did he say in his deposition that he diagnosed Amber Heard with borderline personality disorder or histrionic personality disorder?
I saw the symptoms clearly delineated throughout his notes and in his deposition.
Okay.
He does not use diagnoses, so he would not have diagnosed her.
He said specifically in his deposition he did not diagnose her with that, correct?
Yes, and he also specifically stated that he does not use diagnoses.
All right. And you also have seen Dr. Banks, Dr. Amy Banks, the psychiatrist, her deposition, correct?
Yes.
And did Dr.
Not her
Anderson-
deposition. I reviewed her notes in the transcript.
All right.
Okay.
Did Dr. Anderson diagnose Ms. Heard with borderline personality disorder or is it histrionic personality disorder?
I don't believe she provided any diagnosis since she was a couples therapist.
All right.
Okay,
Now,
that
you
makes
said
sense.
quite a bit about Don Hughes, but do you remember how many years of experience Don Hughes has in IPV and domestic abuse and violence?
I know it's quite a bit.
Extensive, and she is board certified, correct?
Yes, she is.
All right, and she spent 29
Unfortunately.
hours of examination with Amber Heard, did she not?
Not a client, by the way.
Yes, mostly
Okay.
interviewing.
All right, and she interviewed her therapists, Bonnie Jacobs and Conan Cowell, correct?
Not a client.
Yes.
And she also interviewed Amber's late mother.
Yes.
Okay, and she administered 12 different tests over the period of that time, correct?
Well, as I said, the majority of those were checklists, which are inappropriate for the forensic setting.
I understand that's what you say, but she administered 12 different tests, correct?
If you want to qualify them as tests, sure.
Okay.
And so you disregard no, I'm not even going to say that. Okay. Let's go to the CAPS 5 and PTSD.
Okay.
Now, you assessed Ms. Heard's traumas
I'm
in
not
her
gonna say
life,
that.
correct?
Yes, I did
Okay.
give her an instrument to assess for any trauma exposure throughout the entire lifespan.
Yes, yes, that's fine. And you wrote that Ms. Heard's exposure to a traumatic
She's in
event,
such a
namely
hurry.
one of the sexual assaults by Mr. Depp, more than satisfied this requirement. Did you not write that in your notes?
That is not what I wrote in my notes. Do you have my notes? So we
And
can
you
look at them?
administered a structured clinical interview based on that trauma, correct?
Not exactly. It's not quite right.
Okay.
Now, Dr. Hughes administered a full intimate partner violence assessment, correct?
That's not a psychological assessment. We can't assess for intimate partner violence. That's an event.
Dr. Hughes administered a full intimate partner violence assessment,
She
correct?
stated that, and that's actually something I'm rebutting today.
Okay, and you reviewed her psychological testing?
I sure did, yes.
Okay, and are you aware that in September 2019, Ms. Heard had a trauma-based symptom on many of those valid tests?
Can you be a little bit more specific?
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Many of those valid tests, which tests are you talking
Do
about?
you have a recollection of that, September 2019?
She administered all of her testing in September 2019, so I'm not sure which one, except for the CAPS 5, which was 10 days after mine in 2021.
Now, Dr. Hughes clinically
Okay.
evaluated those symptoms and established that Ms. Heard does have PTSD from the totality of the intimate partner violence by Mr. Depp, correct?
That's what she stated, yes.
Okay. Now, Dr. Anderson's clinical notes.
Well,
that
she's
said
speed
Amber
running,
had
man.
come to a-
Objection.
Oh my
hearsay.
God, she's going fast.
I haven't even asked the question yet, Your Honor.
Keep it up.
Are you going to read her notes?
Well, no, actually, I wasn't going to read it.
Dude,
I
she
didn't
is,
ask a
oh my
particular
God,
question.
she's
You
stressed.
talked about danger. Do you recall that in your testimony?
Yes.
All right. Now, if a patient comes to you as a couples therapist with two black eyes, would you assess that there may be a potential danger there?
Sure.
Okay. Did you read Dr. Anderson's notes?
I believe I did.
Okay.
Now, you administered the Minnesota Multiphasic Personality Inventory 2, the MMPI-2. Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you used that to determine whether Amber had PTSD, right?
Not by itself, but it was a part of the data.
Okay. And in the 60 to 70 T-score range for that test, which, quote, deliberate attempts to mislead are uncommon, end quote. Isn't that correct?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
The hell?
In the T-score section of that, for which assesses deliberate attempts to mislead, do you recall? She scored a 60 on that test, correct?
So there are multiple T-scores for each scale, so I'm not sure which scale you're talking about.
Okay.
Okay.
What is this?
Well, we can deal with that later. So you would agree that you need to follow ethics and best practices in forensic psychology, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the two primary sources are the American Psychological Association Ethical Principles and Professional Code of Conduct.
We found
right?
out those don't matter.
And the American Psychological Association's Specialty Guidelines for Forensic Psychology, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Those don't
And
matter.
Specialty Guidelines 1.02 states that forensic practitioners, quote, strive for accuracy, impartiality, fairness, and independence, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And Specialty Guidelines 1.03 states that you have to avoid a conflict of interest, correct?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Now, in addition to not listing the 4 hours you spent with Mr. Depp, Mr. Waldman, Mr. Chu, and Ms. Vasquez, you also did not list that you spent an hour with Dr. Shah, correct?
That's incorrect.
Okay.
You say that the designation said that you spent
During
an
my
hour-
deposition, I also clarified this. I didn't spend an hour with Dr. Shah. There was an introduction with the attorneys present on Zoom.
That was the guy you from
My
yesterday.
time on that call was less than 30 minutes.
Okay. But you still didn't disclose it, did you, in your reports?
No.
Okay. Now, you have not been asked to testify about Ms. Heard's behavior in the context of her relationship with Mr. Depp. Is that correct?
I was asked to testify about somebody's behavioral mental status in general, so that can include behavior involved in a relationship with Mr. Depp, but not specifically.
Can you pull up date 10 of the trial testimony at page 2710? Are you able to do that, Michelle?
Uh-oh, the clock is ticking, boys. The time is going down.
Lines 12 through 18.
Which lines? What were they again?
May we approach?
All right.
Oh no. When we approach, it's like just as soon as she's about to fucking say it, he's like, oh, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute, running down the clock, good job, coach. I mean, as I said, this guy is just, I mean, holy shit, he's so quick, yeah. I mean, it's kind of like this guy, he's the one that does all the dirty work, you know? In the legal team at the office, like this is a guy that they bring in to really kind of, you know, rough him up a bit. Yeah. He's the tank, yeah. The enforcer. Oh my god. He's laughing. Yeah, this is funny. Holy shit. Alright, so now what? The brute. Oh, objection, wait. Oh. Tick, 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 tick. Oh, shit.
Great job.
Oh,
Does
shit.
this also have, okay.
Yep.
So,
okay.
Dr. Curry, this is your testimony from day 10 in this case, and if you can look at page 2710, line 13. Now, my question was, now is it your testimony under oath today that you have not been asked to testify concerning Ms. Heard's behavior in the context of her relationship with Mr. Depp, including any abuse? And your answer under oath to this jury that day was, that's correct.
Yes.
Correct?
I still agree with that to that question.
All right. And you have not made any determinations, including any opinions, that Ms. Heard abused Mr. Depp or Mr. Depp abused Ms. Heard, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And in fact, you said that's outside the scope.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of psychology.
And you cannot testify whether Amber Heard suffered any emotional distress as a result of any of the defamatory comments that she has alleged Mr. Waldman made through Mr. Depp, or Mr. Depp made through Mr. Waldman,
Oh
correct?
my God.
Objection, Your Honor.
Do you want me to read my response?
What's
Sure.
the objection? I'm sorry.
What
Hold on,
okay,
Dr.
sorry,
Curry.
Your Honor.
That's okay. Oh, what's the objection? Are you on approach? Okay.
Oh, shit. Objection. Oh, there it is. That's a troll face. Wait, oh, objection. Wait, oh, objection. That's it. Oh my God. It's just, this guy is too much, man. It's just, he's so bad. Get rolled? Yeah, she said it was the question, didn't read it right. Well, yeah, because like she's under pressure, so she's making mistakes. Casual stroll he does? Yeah, just take as much time as he needs to get up there. You don't need to run up there. You know, you get there when you get there. It is what it is. The objection
Now-
stop the clock? I don't think so.
You have not rendered any opinion as to whether Amber Heard exhibits patterns of behavior that would suggest her allegations of abuse against Mr. Depp are false. Would
does?
you agree?
Okay.
No. I mean, yes, I would agree with that.
Thank you. And you have not, no, that's right. That's all I've got. No further questions.
All
Thank
right,
you.
redirect.
Here we go. There he is.
You were asked about the skid.
Yes.
What's that?
It's a structured clinical interview.
Okay.
It's for rendering a diagnosis. It's best for treatment because you're asking direct questions of the examinee and about symptoms. So if you have an examinee who has a tendency to minimize, you're not going to get much information.
Why didn't you use it?
Because, well, first of all, I had a limited amount of time for my evaluation, and I had already had to use, just to complete the interview was extremely time consuming, and I had to even restructure it into handouts so that I could keep Ms. Heard on track. I determined based on that, so this is where you would make an inference. So because I was having difficulty getting direct answers to my questions from Ms. Heard, I had determined that creating forms of those questions would be a better use of the time, which it was, and then I further deduced that adding on the structured clinical interview would probably be unproductive, given that I had limited time and needed to use the best, most reliable methods for getting information in that time.
You were asked about the APA specialty guidelines,
Yes.
specifically 1.02 and
Yes.
1.03. Have you complied with them?
I have.
Is that
No further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Curry, you can have a seat in the courtroom.
you,
You're
Your
free to
Honor.
go. Thank you.
Oh, man. Yeah, you say if you comply with them? Yep. All right. Okay, that's it. We're done. Somebody said that is going to be introduced, take the stand, also motion about TMC selling the
Let's go
video.
ahead and take our morning recess for 15
I'm
minutes.
excited
Do not
to
discuss
see
the case
that.
and do not do any outside research, okay?
I'm gonna be real. Like, one thing that I feel like people should really be picking up on with this is like how much these quote experts aren't. Like, it's like all of these people. It makes me wonder, like, how many other times, you know, it's like, oh, an expert on something says something. It's like, what do you think the odds are that these are just the times that we have it cross-examined and everything like that? Exactly. Yeah, they're clown. It's soft science. Yeah.
Just for planning purposes.
Okay, what's this?
Sammy asked Mr. Tobin to be here as early as noon, just in case with the fluid of the trial. I'm not sure what time we can get to that motion, so. That's fine. Okay, just to let you know.
She
They
is
need to work
pressed.
on that. They're going to find out who the next witness is. So let's go ahead and take a recess until 10:55, okay?
Oh my God, man. Like, that was just, I'm gonna be honest, like, that was bad for them. Tree Greener has bullshitter from 100 miles. Well, yeah. A lot of people, some of the clients that claim to be dodgy experts, well, it's more that, like, these are the people that they hired. Like, these are the people they wanted to be on their team. And so, like, I don't really feel bad for that, feel bad for them at all, because this is what they, this is what they were looking for. This is what they were trying to do. So no, absolutely not. I don't feel bad. It's just that the people that they bring on are just clearly not credible. I would say, Zach, thanks for 5 subs again. Thank you very much. The word expert is being hijacked to push agendas. It's quite unfortunate because it's causing the word to lose its validity. Well, I think that it's very important to I think it's very important to be able to question these things and actually offer, evidence to the contrary to pretty much anything, right? Because one thing you can see here is that these narratives are created, and through them being created, there are lies that are used to be spread through them, right? That's effectively what happens. And Zach Pilot with the 5 good subs, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. That's why the in the EU the court orders the experts and not lawyers. That's actually a very good. Wait, that's way smarter. So in the UK, the court has the experts and not the lawyers? Wait, so like, why don't we do that here? I feel like that's. I don't know. I feel like that's. Yeah, that would make more sense. It's expensive. Yeah, maybe it's money. I don't know. I mean, it's crazy to me to see this kind of stuff, man. It really is. And I guess people do it so they can be more. It's weird, man. Granddad Gamer with the 5 good subs. It seems like that's a better way to do stuff. I'll say that for sure. That's a money thing, isn't it? Well, I don't know. I have no idea. And the court would assign a bad expert if they want them to lose. Good point. Whack and Purge the 5 good subs. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And yeah, of course. That's how Johnny lost. The judge was for heard. Maybe you're right. And like, so the courts can actually have their own biases in terms of like which witnesses or which experts they assign each person. That's actually a very good point. Maybe that's not a good idea. But I do think it's problematic, at least in the way that we have it, right? Where there are people that come in and these guys are, quote, experts, and they're really not. And I see this all the time. And like, these people are just like, oh, I'm an expert in this or I'm an expert in that. And like, the truth is like, not fucking really, And TMZ emergency. So I'll talk about that a little bit because like, we're going to find out about this in like literally an hour or two, right? Use the ability to disprove an expert if you don't agree with, only if you get a court expert. I mean, maybe, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at it in general. Bias all the time happens. What happens to so-called medical professions that misdiagnosed Amber Heards? No consequences. Of course not. No, there are no consequences for these kinds of things. It'll all be forgotten, and they'll just go on to ruining other people's lives. Maybe 6 months later, a year later, and that's about it. That's just the way these things go. And there's not really a lot of accountability for this kind of stuff. There's no real governing body for it. So it's very hard to actually go and say like, okay, well, this is what's going to happen to this person in like this bad way, right? Zach Flomo, thanks for the 10 gifted subs. I appreciate that. How pretty is Dr. Yeah, I think Dr. Carey's hot, but like, that's not really the point. I mean, the thing is that she knows what she's talking about. And I just find it to be such a, it's very, it fills me with a lot of uncertainty, is that you have these people that are purported experts and they have like all this experience, but even with all of that, they still just use it to push a narrative that's not even fucking true. And also, like, not only is it not true, but it's so easily disprovable, but somebody who's not an expert in it, doesn't really know what they're talking about, isn't going to be able to see through those cracks. It's awful.